Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I am starting another yarn crawl. This is the Greater Philadelphia yarn crawl, and it's actually the yarn crawl of my hometown. And you may be wondering, Becky, why haven't you attempted the yarn crawl of your hometown before? And that's because there hasn't been one before. This is actually the first year that it's going to be available, which is pretty nice because it means that all the stores are pretty close. There's 16 stores over 4 days, so doable, and none of them are 4 hours away, which I'm looking forward to. I did not get a good night's sleep last night, so I did have a full day planned for today, but I honestly don't know how feasible that's going to be. So if I do well, I will have hit 6 before the end of today, but if I haven't done as well, I'm expecting to hit at least 2, yeah? So we'll just see how I'm feeling. I've got some water. I've had an energy bar, so hopefully that will wake me up. And we're going to get started on the first shop, which is where my passport's going to be. I just came out of the first store, which is Stitch Central. When I think of my local yarn shop, Stitch Central is the home base for me. I often go to Stitch Central because I'm going with my mom. And Stitch Central is a combination quilt and yarn shop. So usually I'll just go to the yarn section and my mom will go to the quilt section and we'll basically enjoy our respective parts of the store. It's kind of like time together but apart type of thing. But Stitch Central is doing well in its own right because they recently moved. This is actually the first time I went shopping at the new location, although it's not my first time at the new location in general because I helped them move in about a week ago. They have a bigger store. There aren't too many local yarns here. There are some local brands, but there's not really a designated local area, but they actually have this space to spread out, which is nice because their yarn section in the previous store was a little bit cramped. And I didn't get very much at this store. Unlike other yarn crawls that I go on, I usually just spend with reckless abandon because I don't know when I'm going to come back. But because I live in Philly and this is a yarn crawl in Philly, I don't necessarily feel the same need to spend with reckless abandon because a quick trip back. Yeah, so I saw this actually when I was helping them move in. So this is a magnetic board. So when you read patterns and the pattern has a chart, you can put the chart in front of the board and then you got a magnet and it keeps track of the row that you are on. And that is something I'm looking forward to using because I do find myself wanting to try more graphs in the future. Even though more of my graphs are in books and not necessarily in a blank format, but I could still see myself using that. And then I got another Wonderland yarn. I am on the lookout for a particular colorway of Wonderland yarn. I didn't see it, but when I saw this, I knew if I didn't leave with it, I would regret it. So I got it. This one is called a Refreshing Moonlit Swim. It's like a nice color combination. And then they had a pop-up shop today. They had a expected pattern to use for this. I think they want me to use the Andrea Mowry night shawl. It's 60% certain that I probably won't be using it for that. They have these nice hand-dyed yarns from Nature's Dye Studio. And this is a fingering merino wool. And I mean, look at those pretty colors. Absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, 100% mountain merino. And it says hand wash only with a pH neutral detergent. Grown, spun, dyed in the USA. And it's very rare that I actually get to support independent dyer here at this shop, so I had to support them here. And then they gave me a free pencil. They told me there's a surprise, and I see it now. It's a mood pencil. I got my passport here, and there's also a tote bag. So of course I got the tote bag, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. I love the choice of the pink. You can tell it's Philadelphia because we got the love statue in there. Passport's inside. It was already stamped, but this is a pretty nice passport and it's right in the middle right there, so you can see I already got my heart for the first one. And 2 things strike me as odd about this passport. One is the fact that there is not a place to write your name. Now, the way that you submit this passport is a little bit different in that I don't have to mail this in order to get the grand prize at the end. I don't have to visit all the stores to get the grand prize at the end either. I just have to visit the majority of them. But usually there's a way to put your name on it with some contact information in case you lose your passport. You can always just write my name on the back of this, but I don't have a writing utensil that's operable on me right now. I just have an unsharpened pencil. I didn't really plan ahead on this one as much as I usually do for the others. The other thing that really strikes me as odd, but a pleasant odd, is the fact that there's no advertisements in here. Usually when I see a passport like this, like I remember for the Hudson Valley Yarn Trail, and also I think like the main yarn cruise, packed with advertisements. I think they have like a QR code here, and that's probably the closest that they get to it here. No advertisements whatsoever, and in today's age, that is absolutely refreshing. Yeah, I just had a nice time visiting my local yarn store. It doesn't really feel new because it's my local one. It's not like the yarn crawls of the past where they've entered none of the stores ahead of time. But I'm gonna drive off to the next store now and hopefully try to figure out what's going on with my phone, because my phone was acting up. I just came out of Love to Knit and More. If you hear a jackhammer going on in the background, they are doing construction in this parking lot, so don't mind that. Nothing you can really do, and unfortunately it's right by the store, but I mean the store can't control that. I've been to Love to Knit before. I think I came here for like a knit get together one time. I would go back. It's just unfortunately every time it keeps coming up, I just my sleep schedule's been super off. But I found some nice things in this store. It's like the first time I got to like go around and actually walk around. Well, they gave me a stitch marker. Just like a cute little stitch marker for the yarn crawl. They had a trunk show going on. So the trunk show was for Cozy Colorworks. They had loads of skeins for Cozy Colorworks, and this one was in the one-of-a-kind colors. There's just something about the hot pink that was just drawing to me today. And it's like, yeah, there were several yarns I was tempted to get that I held off because I'm trying to pace myself, and I was able to stay in budget for this store. I love getting indie dyers when I can, and they actually had a whole table of assigned pulling for this particular dye. I didn't get the assigned pulling one, but it's basically when they purposely dye the colors of the yarn so that way a certain pattern shows up. There was another brand of yarn that I hadn't seen before, but I held off because it looks like it's from another store that I'm going to hit later on in the group. And then I found this really glitzy cassia yarn. It's called Gatsby, and this was on sale. I don't know what I'm gonna make with this, but I know I can probably just slide it into something and have it go pretty nice. It'll actually go pretty nice with this one, even though they are two completely different fibers. And then they had a book section. They just had a section that was like $5 books. I found this book by Vicky Square called Folk Bags, and it's very unusual. Also, I love Vicky Square's patterns. I only have one other books by her. It's the Knitted Kimono book, which I enjoy making the kimonos, although I do feel weird wearing them because I feel like I'm culturally appropriating when I do. This one is like another folk bag, so like go around the world, and I think it'd be nice to like give it a try out. So yeah, that's all that I got from here. And it was only 6 minutes away. It is literally the shortest between two stores that I have ever gone that weren't right next to each other. So I just gotta figure out what I said the next one was gonna be, and I'm gonna see what that one is. And it's starting to get really warm, y'all. I just came out of Echo Valley Fiber, and it was my first time in this store. It's actually the first store I've entered where I've entered it for the first time, although at this point I've already been to the two stores I've been to before, and it's a very nice, cozy little store. It's a little bit cramped, but they had a variety of yarns I've never seen before anywhere else, which, I mean, this is my 4th yarn crawl, so when I say that, it really means something here, because lots of yarn stores have a lot of the same brands over and over again. As it turns out, Echo Valley Fiber has their own brand of yarn. The owner, Gwen, used to have an alpaca ranch, and she sold it a couple years ago, so the fiber that she has left is what's left. but I got this nice alpaca fiber. This color is called Sensation. Honestly, it's not really something that you typically associate with a beige, but here we are. This is also the first store that I've seen roving that is not felting material. Well, I mean, all roving is felting material, but not like marketed as felting material. And this is also alpaca. This was in the sale bin. It's called Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play. It is 75% superwash merino wool, 15% silk, and 10% cashmere. And the color is Hollywood. I mean, yeah, it gave me a very like glitzy, glammy, like elegant type of color. This is like a rougher wool. It's Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. Pretty small amount. It's also a little bit rough too, but it's a nice color. Like the dye took very well to this color. And then there was another small one, another like rough wool I never seen before. This is Marie Wallen. What kills me is that my middle name is here and I mispronounced it. Marie Wallen. Anyway, can you tell I don't like my middle name? A fine blend of wool spun in Devon from the Blueface Leicester, Exmoor, Romney, and Swartable's sheep breeds. This color is called Evergreen. Like even when I was in Ireland, I didn't see this one. I saw this in Love to Knit. I held off because it was actually more expensive there, but it was cheaper here. This is Koigu, and it's a small amount of Koigu. It's like a hand painted, each one is an original painting. It's like a nice little fingering thing and got a nice vibrant orange. Koigu is local to around here, I believe. I think they're somewhere in Pennsylvania, if I'm remembering that correctly. I saw this like nice mint green Surfina baby, Filati Surfina. It's made in Italy, but it has a language that is not Italian on it. It looks like Polish or Russian or something like that. This is 100% acrylic. It feels like it. This was also the cheapest one that I got. And then there was this Debbie Bliss organic cotton, fair trade collection. It's 100% cotton. I'm not sure where it's from. Debbie Bliss sounds like an extremely American name. The thing is, I think it says, but I think the sticker covers it. The last thing I got was another row counter. This one goes up to the thousands. I was told about this, and I knew if I saw one that I would want it, so I got it. Because this is actually the first time that I've seen it, and I can always use another row counter. But yeah, that's what I got here. More than I was expecting to spend, but then again, old habits die hard. I see a brand I don't recognize, I get the brand. So I'm gonna look to see what's next. Maybe determine if I need to take a meal break. I considered packing myself a sandwich. I did not pack the sandwich like I should have, so maybe I'll get food along the way. Who knows? It's like afternoon at this point. I just came out of Twist Knitting and Spinning. I got seduced by some very lovely yarns here. It's a nice little store. It's a little bit of a multiple rooms type of thing, so there's a space to actually like use a lot of the looms, and there's a spinning section in addition to just the regular like yarn section. And it was a very calm store. This is actually the first store that isn't as busy as some of the other stores that I've been to, which the fact that the stores are this busy on the first day of the crawl, which is a Thursday, that's amazing. Even so, there were like multiple people going through, so I found some yarns here that I've never seen anywhere else. So this is Claudia hand-painted Serenity silk lace. This is 100% mulberry silk. And it turns out that Claudia is semi-retired now. She's like down in Virginia. This is so soft. It's like soft and squishable, and it's super thin. I got it in the weaving section, which makes me think it was meant to be more of a weaving project than a knit or a crochet one. But it'll be interesting to see like what I end up using it for. And then here's another like hand-painted one. It's Teresa Ruch Designs or Rouch. I'm not sure how she pronounces that. But it's dye painted 100% Tencel yarns. North American product, dyed in Oregon. Yeah, this is meant for weaving. It says WEF. Well, I got it in the weaving section, but I mean, look at the brightness of that color. And I mean, I'm in the shade right now. Imagine how bright it'd be if I just held it out in the sun, yeah? This yarn was a lot more expensive than I was expecting it to be. It's a very soft, like VJ Fibers, never seen them before. There were also some other like weaving yarns that I've never seen before, but they were super rough. Thin and rough, not really much of a thing that I would go for, but thin and soft, like these VJ fibers. It's got an interesting smell to it, actually. Made in India. This mulberry. I guess this is like somewhat silk maybe again. That would explain things. So now for some of the cheaper stuff. Those were like the 3 most expensive skeins that I picked up. But they had yarn from a local farm. So it's Echo Valley Farm, which I don't think it's the same as the other store. Honestly, I think the other store had a different one, but this one is from Frenchtown, New Jersey, which is relatively close to here. It's like across the border, maybe like an hour or so away, but it's interesting. It's like a local wool. It's Jacob wool, I think. Yeah. 3-ply worsted weight. And there was like a little pamphlet about using different types of wool from different breeds of sheep in order to make sure that the different breeds of sheep stay in circulation. I don't quite know everything about it. It's something I'm going to have to research a little bit more. And then I got 4 colors of roving. They sold roving in these nice little things here. It's like a different brand. It was like Foxglove or something like that. So I have Seafoam, and I have this blue, and I got this mint and this watermelon. And honestly, these colors are kind of clashy. There was a pink that went better with the mint, but I kind of like this pink better. So that's what I got here. They were very helpful when I was here. But now I think we'll have to do some searching around. I could sense I was starting to get hangry, and I see there's a bunch of restaurants nearby. So I'm gonna see I can have to eat. I just came out of Forever Yarn, and what a delightful little store. It is small, it is packed, but it has a lot of brands that aren't in the other stores in the surrounding area. There are brands that I have seen before here, but I saw them on previous yarn crawls in different states. I haven't seen them in Philly yet. So I'm glad that this yarn is available to people who are in Philly. First I got like this Woolly Hues yarn. This was just hanging out by itself, but it was like nice and squishy. It's a hand-dyed yarn. It says artisan crafted by Anne Leanness, so she's probably the person who dyed it. It's 80% superwash merino and 20% silk. That's why it's super soft and squishy. And then I have this little fox, and the colorway is called Pennies from Heaven, which Pennies from Heaven you would typically think is a brown. And for some reason, I think I either saw this in a different yarn crawl and didn't buy it, or I saw it in a different yarn crawl and did buy it. I could have another one of these at home already. And then there was this other brand that was called Nature's Luxury. Never heard of it before. But I mean, look at that yarn. Wow, it's 100% superwash merino. It's 100 grams. It's just like such a vibrant color. This is a brand I've never heard of before. It's called Kokon. This is superwash merino. It's blue limited edition. It sounds like it's from Japan. I'm not sure. This color is called Jean Michel. Kokon yarn. I could like look it up. There is a yarn in here that is from Japan. It's this one. It's Genmu, and this is just 100% merino wool. But it's interesting because most of the time when you see like yarn made from Japan in the States, it's usually Noro. This is like cheaper than Noro. This is a new one for them here. It's called Ritual Dyes. It's a new dyer. Yeah, Portland, Oregon. Look at that lovely purple color, yeah? Oh, this Italian brand I've never seen before. I think it's literally called Italian Yarns and Fiber. Estifa. A little bit rougher than the other ones that I got from here. This is such a pretty purple. Yeah, it's non-superwash and nylon free. It's rare and local fibers. Avendole. I mean, I guess that's the color right there, yeah? And then they gave me this nice free bag. Employees here are very nice. Like some of the other brands that I saw here that I did see in other stores, like I saw Cake and I saw Bien Amu. It's a French one. I saw Rose Company. I know I've seen those in other crawls. Staff here is pretty friendly, and like the lady who owns the store, like she's saying to like one of her employees, "You're in charge today, you're in charge." And she's like, yeah, she's in charge of the store, but apparently I'm the boss. But she's like, it's the first day of the crawl. We thought, oh, people will just ease into it. And it's been nonstop all day. And they've had like over 70 people in or already today, which is really good news for them. It's really good news for any yarn store, honestly, if you have like over 70 customers coming to your store. I'm very glad that I stopped by here, even if I did go over budget again. I think I have it in me for at least one more store today. We'll see how that goes. I just came out of United Stitches, and it is the smallest shop I've been in so far. Most of the other shops I've been in have been like multiple rooms or like one really big room. This is a very, very small one room building, or at least one room show area. I think there was a door going somewhere else, but merchandise wasn't there. There's just like a small amount of yarn, but there was a trunk show there for Cape May Fibers. I'm assuming it was a trunk show because there's a sign saying that the person who dyes their yarn is going to be there on Saturday. And there's some other brands I hadn't seen before. So I didn't get a lot here, just a couple things. So I found some roving. This is the first time I've seen roving by Cape May Fibers, and this one's called Radium Girls. I don't think it's very visible right now with the camera, but there's actually some sparkly metallic stuff in it right now. Maybe if I hold it closer like that, you can kind of see it. This is just electric. Cape May Fibers also had another green. This is called Haunted Victorian. I'm not sure how it's a Haunted Victorian, but I love the colorway. It's a very nice colorway. Strange, like even though I had like seen it before in the New Jersey Wool Walk, it's still local because Jersey here is still local when you're talking about like Philadelphia related things, because we're right next to Jersey. And then there's this other brand called Breadiculus. But this yarn also is just like, wow. This color is called Apricot. It's like such a vibrant orange. I'm getting a lot of fingering weight yarn for whatever reason. And then the last one that I got was a more natural yarn. This is Liverpool Yarns. It's sourced in Great Britain, but then it's spun in Pennsylvania. And it turns out the person who spins it, Erica, used to work for Loop, another store that I'm going to be stopping later on in this crawl. So this is actually spun like really, really close to here. And that's what I got here at United Stitches. It's a very delightful little store. There's also some other things in there that are not necessarily like yarn, but they are yarn related. I think they have like a coffee tea selection that you could have, and I saw some ritual sticks that you could burn, and also like some balmy stuff. But they have like a nice little selection of yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do next because I've hit all the stores that I plan to hit today, but it's also still really early in the day. So I'm tempted to try for another store, but I know if I do that, I gotta go get gas somewhere around here and stay with the car because I'm pretty sure I'm parked in the spot that does not want my car parked here. There is a parking lot for United Stitches, but I did not find that parking lot. I found the parking lot for a different company. I'm back home. After I considered my options, I ended up hitting the wall energy level and decided to just go home, which I was tempted for the possibility of potentially hitting 8 stores and then for half the crawl on the first day. But I decided to actually enjoy the time. And also I reminded myself that I had not slept well the night before. I had found the energy for the 6 stores, but after that it's like, okay, let's not push it. Even though I do really like the fact that the Philadelphia Yarn Crawl actually coordinated with all their stores, and it's like, let's all be open until 7 o'clock this evening, which means more people can come. And it's not just like the people who are staying at home during the day can come during the weekdays. They also have the ability for like the working yarn enthusiasts to actually go after work and not have to try to cram 16 stores into a weekend if they want to complete the whole walk that way. And I did end up eating lunch after Twist, which I'm very glad I did. I happened to have parked in the parking lot of an Italian restaurant, and it was an amazing place. The service was amazing. The environment wasn't a sensory overload. Like there was no TVs or radio or like music going on. You could just hear the ambient voice, which is very rare nowadays in a restaurant. The service was pretty good too. I know I have to load up the car on gas before I go tomorrow because like the gas is low, very low. Yeah, I made good progress today. I hit 6 stores today, which is very, very good. I hit the goal that I wanted to hit for today, which means I'm going to be much better set up to finish the crawl. I'm also very happy to just see how busy all the stores were. It's like Philadelphia needed a crawl. And the people came out, and that's only the first day. It's going to be interesting to see how more people come out when we get closer and closer to actual weekend days. Anyway, I'm going to go to sleep now.